All right, Steelers Nation, buckle up, because what I'm about to break down for you today is absolutely wild, completely unexpected, and it is going to change the way we look at this team heading into the season. This isn't a rumor, this isn't some random Twitter talk, this is official, straight from the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, and the ripple effects of this shocking decision are going to be felt across the entire NFL. So if you're a real Steelers fan, watch this all the way through, because we're going to unpack exactly what happened, why the front office made this move, how it impacts the roster, the locker room, the coaching staff, and what it means for our chances this season and beyond. And trust me, by the end of this video, you're either going to be fired up, absolutely stunned, or maybe a little bit of both. Now, the Steelers have long been one of the most stable, predictable franchises in the league. This is the team known for loyalty, for consistency, for not panicking, for not making flashy, emotional decisions. They don't fire coaches every year, they don't overhaul the roster on a whim, and they rarely do anything that completely blindsides the fan base. But every once in a while, this franchise does something that reminds everyone that they're not afraid to be bold when they truly believe it's the right move. And that is exactly what just happened. The official announcement that dropped has rocked not only Steelers Nation but a lot of analysts and insiders around the league. The Steelers have made a massive franchise-shifting decision involving key personnel that nobody truly believed they would go through with this offseason. After weeks of rumors, speculation, and no way they actually do this talk, the team has gone ahead and pulled the trigger. The moment the news broke, social media absolutely exploded. Fans are divided, the talking heads are already giving their hot takes, and all eyes are on Pittsburgh right now. So let's talk about what this stunning decision actually is, and why it caught everyone off guard. The Steelers have officially decided to reset in a way that tells you everything you need to know about how serious they are about chasing another Lombardi trophy. They've taken a hard look at the last few seasons, the struggles on offense, the inconsistency, the early playoff exits, the sense that we've been stuck in that middle ground of good but not great. And they chose to rip the Band-Aid off. This move isn't about being comfortable. It's about winning. It's about sending a clear message to the entire building. We are done accepting mediocrity. What nobody expected was that the team would be willing to disrupt so much of what we all thought was set in stone. For years, fans said, they'll never do that. It's not the Steelers' way. But the Steelers' way isn't about playing it safe. It's about doing what's necessary to compete at the highest level, even if it hurts in the short term. This decision is proof of that. From the front office perspective, this shocking move had to come from a lot of internal conversations, film sessions, and brutally honest evaluations. You don't wake up one morning and suddenly decide to reshape the direction of your franchise. This is the kind of thing that builds over time. The frustration with stalled drives, the inability to keep up with explosive offenses, the defense being asked to carry too much of the load, the feeling that you're one or two big steps away but never actually taking those steps. At some point, someone has to say, enough. And that's exactly what happened. Inside the locker room, you can imagine how big of a moment this was. When the front office and coaching staff call that team meeting and tell the players that a major change is official, the energy shifts immediately. Some guys are shocked. Some are quietly nodding because they knew something needed to give. Others are thinking about what this means for their own roles, their futures, and the identity of the team. If you've ever been around a team after a big move, you know there's a mix of sadness, excitement, anxiety, and motivation all swirling together at once. It wakes you up. It reminds everyone that this is a business and that the standard in Pittsburgh is the standard for a reason. The media reaction has been intense as well. Some analysts are praising the Steelers for finally stepping out of their comfort zone and addressing the issues that have been obvious to anyone paying attention over the last few seasons. Others are calling it risky, maybe even reckless, saying that Pittsburgh is gambling with its identity and could be setting itself up for a rough stretch if things don't go exactly as planned. But either way, everyone is talking about the Steelers, and that tells you just how big this decision really is. Now let's dig into at least a few of the key layers to this. The first big question everyone is asking is, what does this move say about the leadership in place? It tells you that the front office is not blind, they're not satisfied with just getting by, and they're willing to take the heat that comes with a bold decision. This isn't one of those small, safe tweaks around the edges. This is a pivot, and if you've followed this team closely, you know they don't pivot often. The second thing this tells you is that the Steelers are looking at the current landscape of the AFC and realizing they can't tread water anymore. Look around. You've got explosive offenses everywhere, young quarterbacks lighting up the scoreboard, and teams that are willing to push chips to the center of the table to chase a ring. If the Steelers want to keep up, and not just sneak into the playoffs but truly contend, they needed to do something that actually moves the needle. This decision is their way of saying, we see what's happening in this conference and we're not content to be stuck in neutral. Third, think about what this means for the players who are still here. Anytime a big change is made, especially one that no one saw coming, it puts everyone on notice. If you're a veteran, you're realizing that your name, your reputation, your years of service, none of that guarantee anything anymore. If you're a young player, you're thinking, this is my opening. This is my chance to make a statement. It can light a fire under the whole roster. Suddenly, training camp, preseason reps, film sessions, everything feels a little more urgent, a little more important. From a fan perspective, this move is emotional. Some of you watching this right now might be angry. You might feel like the team disrespected someone or took too big of a risk or didn't show patience when they should have. Others might be relieved, thinking, finally, we're doing something. Finally, we're not just rolling the same thing back and expecting different results. And both reactions are understandable. That's what happens when a franchise you care about makes a move this big. It hits you in the heart first, and only later do you process it with your head. But if we step back for a second and really think about what this could mean on the field, things get very interesting. The Steelers clearly believe that this decision will unlock parts of the team that have been underperforming. Maybe it opens up the playbook. Maybe it changes the way the offense attacks downfield, how the defense is used, how game plans are built week to week. Maybe it changes the voice in the room, the accountability, the energy. Whenever there's a big move, especially an unexpected one, what the team is really trying to do is change its ceiling, not its floor. Its ceiling. They're aiming higher. And that's the key point right there. This is a ceiling move. The Steelers aren't content with being a team that fights hard and keeps it close but taps out early in January. They want to be feared again. They want opposing coordinators to stay up late game planning. They want that swagger back, that feeling that when you play Pittsburgh, you're in for 60 minutes of hell on both sides of the ball. That kind of identity doesn't come from being safe. It comes from making decisions exactly like this. Decisions that are bold, unpopular with some, but absolutely necessary. Another thing to consider here is how this affects the broader timeline of the franchise. When a team makes a shocking call like this, it's usually tied to a window. The Steelers have to believe that their key pieces, on offense, on defense, in the coaching staff, are either entering or already in a window where, if the right adjustments are made, they can realistically push for a championship. This decision is their way of syncing up that timeline, making sure that the roster and the leadership are aligned around the same urgency, the same goals, the same expectations. And in terms of pure football, think about how this changes the dynamics of game day. Maybe now the play calling becomes more aggressive. Maybe the red zone efficiency improves. Maybe third down conversions look different. Maybe we see a bolder use of motion, tempo, mismatches, and the kind of creativity we've been begging to see. Or on the other side of the ball, maybe the defense can play more freely if the offense isn't constantly putting them in bad positions. Games are decided at the margins in the NFL, and a move like this is about shifting those margins in your favor. You also have to think about how this reverberates around the league. Other teams look at what the Steelers just did and they take note. They see that Pittsburgh, a franchise known for patience and tradition, just made a move that says, we are not stuck in the past. We're not living off old rings. We're trying to build the next one. Players around the league see that too. Free agents notice when an organization is serious. Young players coming into the draft notice when a team is willing to make the hard calls in order to win. That matters for your long-term reputation. Inside the building, the front office now owns this decision. When you make a move this shocking, there's no hiding from it. If it works, you're a genius. If it fails, you wear it. And they know that. That's why you can tell how strongly they must feel about this path. They've hitched their reputation to it. They're betting that in a year or two, when we look back on this moment, we'll say, that's when everything changed. That's when the Steelers stopped treading water and started climbing again. For the coaching staff, this is also a turning point. They now have to take this new reality and translate it into wins. The playbook might adjust. The culture might tighten. The accountability in the meeting room might ramp up. Every mistake, every blown assignment, every mental lapse, All of that is going to be under an even brighter spotlight now because the cushion of stability at all costs has been pulled back. This is about production. This is about results. Now let's talk about you, the fans, because you are a huge part of this story whether you realize it or not. The Steelers fan base is one of the most passionate, loyal, and knowledgeable in all of sports. The front office hears the noise. They hear the frustration when the offense stalls, when games that should be wins turn into losses, when the same issues pop up week after week. They know what the standard is in this city. They know 9-8 and a quick exit is not the goal. This decision is as much a response to that standard as it is to anything happening inside the building. They're saying, "We hear you. We see what you see. We're not going to ignore it." At the same time, they're asking you to trust the process. And that's the hard part, because trust has to be earned, especially after a few years of feeling like the team is close, but not quite there. So the question now becomes, does this move earn your trust, or does it shake it? That's where the fan base is going to be divided. Some of you are going to be all in, ready to ride with whatever direction the franchise takes because you believe in the history, the track record, the culture. Others are going to say, "Show me, don't tell me, show me on Sundays." And honestly, both perspectives are fair. Where this gets really interesting is when you start thinking about the immediate schedule ahead. How quickly will we see the impact of this decision? Are we going to notice it in week 1, or is it going to take a few weeks, maybe half a season, for the full effect to show up? Will there be growing pains? Most likely, yes. Anytime you shake things up this much, there are going to be some bumps along the way. But the Steelers are clearly betting that those short-term bumps are worth the long-term payoff. And let's be clear, this is not just about making one flashy move and hoping it magically fixes everything. This has to be step 1 in a larger plan. The front office, the coaching staff, the scouting department, they're all going to have to follow through. That means nailing the draft, making smart free agent decisions, developing the young guys on the roster, and putting players in positions to succeed. This move creates the opportunity. What they do next will determine whether that opportunity turns into actual wins. So where do we go from here? For the players, it's time to work. All the noise, all the headlines, all the shocking talk, none of that wins games. What wins games is preparation, execution, and buy-in. If this locker room buys into the vision behind this decision, if they truly rally around it, the Steelers could come out of this looking like one of the smartest, boldest teams in the league. If they resist it, if there's division, if the message doesn't land, then it gets a lot harder. That's why leadership, both from the coaches and from the veteran players, is going to be absolutely crucial in the next few months. For the front office, it's about consistency now. You can't make a move this big and then start second-guessing yourself halfway through the season. You have to ride it out, adjust intelligently, and stick to your philosophy. Fans can live with bold decisions if they see a clear plan. What they can't live with is panic and confusion. The Steelers have taken a stand. Now they have to follow through. For the coaching staff, this is a chance to redefine themselves. If you've been frustrated with certain play-calling tendencies, certain schemes, certain patterns we've seen over and over, this is your reset button. This is your opening to say, we're doing things differently. Use it, maximize it, get creative, lean into what your players do best. Don't be afraid to adapt. The whole point of a move like this is to unlock new levels of performance. So unlock them. And for you, watching this right now, this is the moment where you decide how you're going to ride out this next chapter of Steelers football. Are you going to be all in, supporting through the ups and downs, understanding that big changes take time but can lead to big rewards? Or are you going to sit back and just wait, arms crossed, to see if it works? Either way, your voice is part of this story. Your energy in the stadium, your presence online, your reaction to wins and losses, all of that feeds into the environment around this team. Here's what I'll say to wrap this up. The Steelers just reminded the entire football world that they are not asleep at the wheel. They see what's happening. They know where they've fallen short. And they're willing to make the kind of shocking, uncomfortable, high-stakes decisions that separate franchises that want to win from franchises that are content to just exist. You can agree with the move or hate it, but you can't ignore it. This is a line in the sand moment. So now it's your turn. I want to hear from you. Do you think this shocking decision was the right move for the Steelers? Are you excited about the direction of the team, or does this make you nervous about the future? Who do you think benefits the most from this, and who do you think it puts the most pressure on? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't hold back. This is the kind of moment that deserves real, honest reactions from real fans. If you're part of Steelers Nation and you want to stay locked in on every twist and turn of this story, from training camp battles to scheme changes to breakout players to how this decision looks once we actually get real football again, make sure you're subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on, because we are going to be breaking down every angle of this all season long. This is not just another year. This is a turning point. All right, that's going to do it for this one. The Steelers have spoken. The decision is official. The shock has settled in. Now we see what this team is really made of. Until next time, thanks for watching, stay locked in, and as always, here we go Steelers.